Hey guys, welcome to Movie.Cast. This is a show where we talk all about films. I'm Mike, that's Costa, this is Amber. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing good?
Yep.
I'm excited. I'm
I
excited because we finally get to talk about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I have been waiting for this film all year, and it's finally here. We get to really discuss and analyze it. And what we like to do on our reviews, on our show, we like to start off spoiler-free. And during that section, we like to say whether or not if we like the movie and whether or not we recommend that you, our viewing audience, should go see it. And then after that, we will get into spoilers and we'll get a little bit more in depth. And when the spoilers are coming up, you're going to hear the classic Wilhelm scream, and we'll also put a message on the video. So at that point, watch at your own risk. So guys, for this one, just going to change up just a little bit because I'm so excited.
Go.
Can I please take the first crack at Rogue One?
Go.
Please, please.
Remember, it's spoiler free.
Right. We are spoiler free for a few minutes, so let's start it off. So, I loved Rogue One. It was surprise. It is, in my opinion, the best Star Wars prequel ever made.
For now, until you get the other ones.
For now, for what we can officially call a Star Wars prequel, this is officially a prequel to Episode 4.
Yes.
So we can officially call this a Star Wars prequel. Therefore, it's the best of the prequels.
Which isn't saying much.
No, it's not,
Yeah.
but I'm still... okay, but anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a very dark movie, which was very different for Star Wars, which was very cool, very unique and original.
Well, some people said Empire is dark.
Empire was dark,
But not as dark as
this
this.
was even
Yeah,
darker.
yeah.
I mean, this was a PG-13 rating,
Probably.
and
Disney's never gonna go
the
R.
only two Star Wars films that were PG-13, or was Force Awakens PG-13? I'm not sure.
I believe so.
Okay,
With
but
some of the stuff that happens in there, it has to be.
yeah. So, it was dark. It was well acted. The visuals, besides a few faux pas that we're going to talk about, were really good. Like this was one of the best visual effects movies of the year. If it doesn't go home with a Best Visuals Oscar, I will be kind of disappointed.
Well, it'll be that one in Jungle Book.
Well, right, yeah, that's
know?
true. That's true. It could be a good.
But it's
good
Disney,
battle.
so they win either way.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, it was well acted, all that, like I said. It was fun. It had a bit of an uneven pacing at the start for me. Like, the scenes just didn't flow, I guess. And maybe
slow.
It was a little slow.
The first half was a slow burn.
It was. It really was. And plus, I was expecting a bit more out of the setup of it and we'll get a little bit more into that with the spoilers, but yeah, it just didn't have that same flow that you either expect from a Star Wars film.
Well, you think they're going to
just,
go right into it.
or just like the way that the scenes, like, I just felt like the scenes were, initially going into it, I thought the scenes were going to kind of like have like a pace where they would like go by like this kind of, but they took their time with some of them.
I think you have to with this because there's so much information going on.
Right.
Even though the audience knows technically what it is. 'Cause
Right,
if you just,
yeah.
If you just read the opening to A New Hope, you know the entire story.
Right, yeah,
like,
exactly.
You need to pace out because there's a lot of information going on, and again, it's a prequel. So
Right, it's a prequel.
You have to know where you are in between.
Right. They have to
3
establish
and
it.
4, even though it's like right there, but there's some back and forth,
Right.
flashback stuff.
Right, and it does some interesting things being a side story. It does a few things that you weren't expecting out of a Star Wars film, like titles for whenever you change planets. That was brand new, and again, that's not really a spoiler, but so I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was great. And once you get past that uneven pacing, at about like somewhere around the halfway point of the movie, it just takes off. And then from there, it keeps escalating all the way up until the end. Like especially the last half hour, it's just a constantly building thrill ride. Up until that's what I'm saying. But all that. But you needed that last half hour to build up to that last 5 minutes, which was all very intense, very exciting, and that I think ultimately saved the movie and made it one of the best Star Wars experiences to date. If you are a Star Wars fan, go out and see it in the theater. Go see it again. If you liked
seen it twice.
Like I will probably go see it again before it's all said and done, and then buy it on Blu-ray and watch it a bunch more times, in the next few months. So that's my opinion. Again, we'll get more in depth in a few minutes. So now let's take it back to how we normally would. Costa, let's go to you. What did you think?
I thought it was fucking fantastic.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, I hate it.
That's awesome.
No, Rogue One, it's great. It had the Star Wars. It oozed Star Wars without being a traditional Star Wars film. One thing got to continue to give Disney credit for, just like they did with Force Awakens, they're continuing to tread with Rogue One. You had a strong and diverse cast of actors and characters that all played interesting roles, you know, and yeah, just to kind of build on what you were saying before, I mean, it also kind of pulls the curtain back and shows like little things that we had never seen before.
Right.
You know, things that we've always been curious about concerning, I guess, some characters or you know, and
it kind of retroactively fixes some things about the original trilogy. We won't go into depth right now, but we will in a minute.
It answers a lot of questions, and definitely, and we were saying off camera, definitely, I think Rogue One elevates A New Hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, by filling in a lot of those gaps that we didn't know about until just now. I mean, again, spectacular visual effects, great acting. Yeah, and once the action starts happening in the film, you know, and once we get into spoilers, we'll talk about specifically when, but you know, but once it gets there, it doesn't.
There's
stop.
one sequence in the midpoint that it finally feels like it finally found like its footing and started going.
I mean, there's definitely in the beginning, it's a lot of exposition, a lot of you know, a lot of you're sort of getting a backstory on some of the characters that end up, you know, playing roles.
And even though we say it's a slow start, it does still give you different looks at like even the rebellion that you would never thought of with the original trilogy. So, but anyway, continue your your review.
I mean, just you know, again, that's sort of just my bare bones reaction without spoiling too much.
Should people go see it?
Yes, go see it, and you know, Rogue One also, in my opinion, has probably, and granted, the scene only lasts about a minute, but it is by far, I think, one of my favorite scenes in any Star Wars movie ever. You know, just 1 minute in like the last 5 or 6 minutes of the movie.
I think it's the best thing that's on screen this year.
Yeah.
That we've seen this year.
I mean,
I can agree with that.
So
I would agree with that too, actually.
You know, if you're, listen, I don't even care if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan or not. This movie would do a lot of great things for someone who's not familiar with Star Wars. But there are plenty of little tidbits in the film for the hardcore Star Wars fan that, you know, you'll just eat it up and you'll be satisfied walking out of the movie theater. So go see it.
Go see it. Amber, what did you think? And should people go see it?
Well,
do you agree with our opinions or what?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. There you go.
Oh yes. All right. Cool.
No,
done.
no.
We're done.
I am one of those like Costing, not a hardcore Star Wars fan. You guys both know this. I don't care.
Yep. We've talked about this actually over the past few weeks.
Last episode I said that Force Awakens was I think after I've like sat on it, Rogue One might be my favorite Star Wars film.
Wow.
But
It is a great movie.
Rogue One and A New Hope and then Force Awakens.
Wow.
It just changed everything.
So this rearranged your whole order.
This movie changed my entire thinking of Star Wars in general.
That's awesome.
It just, I watched this movie and went, oh my God. This just changed everything for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I loved it. And then after I sat and I saw it a second time, I think I might like it even more.
Oh, so you already seen it a second time?
Seen it a second time.
Wow. That's it. That's impressive.
And I saw Force Awakens twice too.
You did.
I saw it a second time because I was like, I liked it, but I want to know if I like it again. Like, I needed a second viewing. and I kind of like darker stuff anyway.
Oh, sure.
And I've seen the Star Wars movies. Like I said, I've seen the prequels and I've seen the originals, but I've never had a real like taken to them. I've just like whatever.
Right.
But this movie like literally was like, oh my gosh,
The turning point, basically.
I have to watch. This one made me want to watch A New Hope again, and then Empire and all of them. Where Force Awakens, I don't have to.
Right. Yeah.
I
because
didn't-
it's
like
its
I
own-
just enjoyed
Yeah.
Force Awakens more, but this changed it all. Where I was like, this means something more.
Right. Okay.
So I think I've changed it to Rogue One might be my favorite Star Wars film
Wow.
ever.
That's high praise. I mean,
From me,
from you, yes,
because I really
especially.
don't care. But this made me like, I think
That's-
I need to rewatch
that-
this again because this movie's awesome.
That's very high praise, and it's well deserved. I mean, you
And
know,
this is coming from
we
somebody
agree.
that doesn't like, or I wouldn't say didn't like, but I didn't have a.
You just weren't like the
I'm
big
not a
fan that like
hardcore.
Costa and I are, for example.
Yeah, and
You-
like
you-
all that, like what Costa was saying with like the little Easter egg stuff with like it went over my head.
Sure.
But I knew it meant something because you were freaking out in the seat next to me. Anytime like I'd be like, oh, and I'd be like, I guess that means something. I guess that must mean.
I mean, if
right.
you've seen the movie already, there are a bunch of references
Like
and
nods
Easter
to
eggs.
things.
Kind of, yeah, just some fun little nods. Some that most of them are pretty like nonchalant. Like they don't try to like throw it in front of your face or like brandash it. They just kind of like they're in there. They're sprinkled
Yeah.
in.
I only
And I
got,
think
like-
for the most part, that's pretty well done.
I only got like 2.
Okay,
And
there's
when we go
probably
into
more.
spoilers, but for
Yeah.
me, like the ones that I noticed were like 2, and they were very big ones where
Right.
you're like, oh, those.
Yeah.
But everything else, like what you got, like the little teeny Easter eggs that are, unless you're like really big Star Wars
Right.
fans, like went over my head. But guess what, guys? It doesn't matter.
So, do you agree with our assessment in telling people to go see it?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah.
that was our spoiler-free review. So at this point, please watch at your own risk. We are going to delve into spoilers, and like I said, we have the notice at the bottom of the screen. So if you're not hearing me right now, look at the bottom of your screen. Spoilers. So watch at your own risk. Like I said, let's dig a little bit deeper. So I'm going to start this off again, and when I said this was one of the best written prequels I believe I've ever seen. Because when we talked about those Easter eggs that they threw in Easter eggs that if you're the casual person like you may not have caught all of them, but you caught some of them, and they weren't enough to take away from the main story. Whereas when we saw them, we were like, oh my God, you know, that's awesome. Like you had the 2 characters who try to rough Luke up in the cantina in episode 4.
Yeah,
They make
I
a
did
very brief
recognize
appearance
them,
on
actually,
Jeddah. You have R2D2 and C3PO at the Yavin 4
Yeah,
base,
I recognize
which
that
you
one.
also which you also heard, you know, Captain Antilles, the Wedge being mentioned, which I'm surprised they did not use Wedge in this movie. I was very surprised by that.
Maybe he's dead.
No, he can't be.
Oh.
No, because he survives all the way through Jedi.
No, I'm saying the actor.
Oh, the actor. Oh, I don't think he is. He's Ewan McGregor's uncle.
Oh.
Yeah, Dennis Lawson. I don't think he's
Why don't they
dead.
just get you McGregor?
But even so, clearly they have shown that they're not afraid to take dead actors and
yeah.
reuse them. So I'm amazed that they didn't use Wedge Antilles. But getting back to the main point, like it was a smartly written prequel. The best moment for me in terms of the writing was in that hologram message to Jyn from her father when he explains that he built the exhaust port into the Death Star intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
And he guided, you know, and he kept it hidden from the Empire
It
intentionally.
was a big
That-
F you
it is-
to them.
it
They're like,
is.
yeah,
It
I'll
was
work
the
for you,
best.
but I'm going to like make this so vulnerable.
It was great because the writers were like, you know what? We are going to retroactively fix this plot hole. Haha, we did it. And they did it in a way where it didn't feel like they were trying to play up the fan service. They did it for a reason.
It made
It gave
Yeah.
purpose to his character. It made you actually empathize, I guess, or sympathize with
Yeah.
whatever his name is, Galen Urso. You felt for him because he was being forced to make this, but instead he was building a weakness the whole time because he explained, you know, if I didn't do this, they were just going to kill me and complete the weapon, and then it would have
They
no
would have
weaknesses.
gotten somebody else.
And it wouldn't have any
Yeah.
weakness. So he
Yeah.
intentionally designed a weakness.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Does it help Return of the Jedi? Even a little bit. Because then why would they have any reason to have built the Death Star another way? Because that's the way they know. They didn't know about the weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I mean, maybe you could say, and then they didn't even have the plans anymore to analyze, I guess, because they were in the rebels' hands.
Well, you'd figure they'd just be like, well, they shot into here.
Well, I mean, most of them were dead, so they didn't know what the plan was. You know, I mean, that was a good legion of troops that was destroyed
And
by
made
the...
another one.
And then they
it
made another one
happened
in 4 years.
They just figured it's bigger. I was like, that just makes it a bigger hole. To shoot it, right?
So I liked that. That was one of my favorite moments, and that's when the movie started to turn a little bit in the better. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, up to that point, I was just kind of like, okay, I mean, I'm enjoying this, but I'm like, nothing's happening yet. Like Saul Guerrero was torturing that one pilot, and they spent a lot of time on that part of it, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, all right, cool,
I think
but
it was kind of like just like getting the gang together. how
yeah, and I
everybody,
guess
like,
to
gets
me,
together.
we all knew that Forrest Whitaker's character was not going to be a main character. I mean, we just all kind of felt like he was going to be like in there, but not really in the main like crux of the movie.
Yeah, he was
so
gonna
to
be
me,
the
in my
main
opinion,
rogues.
when I was watching, I was just like, okay, we kind of know he's
like,
not.
when are you gonna
yeah,
die?
like, or at least when are you going to say you're save the rebellion, save the dreamline, so we can move on? Like I guess
I don't
was
think he
my
did.
point. He did.
He
did
did.
at the end.
I was
Yeah.
thinking of that speech in the like
Right.
teaser, which was completely cut out, and like
Yeah.
it wasn't even like the same footage.
And I read somewhere that actually his line, like, "What will you become?"
Yeah.
that they used in the teaser, that was actually ad-libbed by Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
And
but
then they didn't
but
even use
it's
it.
like from different footage because
Right.
in the movie he had like this like he looked like crazy man in the desert with like his fro off to like it wasn't even it was like off to the side, but then like
Yeah.
in the footage of the teaser he was completely bald.
Yeah.
So they used like footage from like when he was saving Jin. To
And
then,
maybe
like, years
again,
later.
maybe
Yeah.
that was some reshoots too.
Reshoots, yeah.
Maybe just to restructure the story a little better.
Yeah.
And that's what I like too. I felt that the tone of the film was consistent the whole way through too. You
Yeah.
know how we saw the reports about the Suicide Squad reshoots about them reshooting for humor, and I know, but that's why I'm saying like it didn't. It looked like their reshoots were done for this movie like
For
just
story.
just for story purposes, but done intentionally, not to like try to drastically change anything, but just try to fix some things that just weren't going right
Yeah.
for how they wanted the story to go.
Yeah.
So. I mean, what do you guys think? Delving in a little bit deeper into this, like I said, I liked, like once they started the midway point of finding Jin's father on that platform.
Honestly, I think the point where it really started off was when they were on Jeddah, and
Okay.
they met up with the I can't remember the names of the characters, but the two guardians
Right.
of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Or the
temple.
the one guy.
I'm trying to remember their
yeah.
names too. Chirrut and
Chirrut
and Baze, whatever his name is. It's spelled B-A-Z-E. So
Yeah, but I'm sure he was the blind warrior.
Donnie.
Who,
Young.
yeah, and
Donnie Yen, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Chirrut.
because they had the
Chirrut,
sort of the battle scene
Yeah.
there.
That was a
and-
great scene.
Right.
Yeah, that was
And
fantastic.
really from that point on, yeah, you had a little bit of that time with, when they're like trying to retrieve the pilot and stuff like that. But I think really from that point on, the film just sort of took off.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
and I have to say it again because I hinted at it before, but what I think is probably one of the best individual scenes in any Star Wars film. I was just a giddy fanboy when near the end of the film, you get a little bit of Darth Vader in this movie.
A little bit. Yeah.
But at the end, they give you a solid, hearty dose of Vader.
Yes.
Right at the end, after the plans for the Death Star have been uploaded, and the rebel ships are trying to now get away and escape, Vader boards one of the ships, and he just goes to town.
Yeah.
And,
That was great.
And does some of his Dark Lord shit.
Right.
And just tears into some
Well,
poor souls.
And you know what was great about it too is the fact that it was complete darkness.
Yes.
And you just
I
see the
love
lightsaber light up.
Yes.
Well,
and you're
first
like,
you hear-
yes!
You hear footsteps,
Like-
and then you hear him breathing,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then everybody's like, it
And
was,
you're just waiting for the lightsaber at that point.
Yeah.
You were just
And-
like, come on,
and see-
come on.
It was like a horror movie.
And in
Yes,
that,
it was.
In
Yeah.
that moment, because honestly,
That was the cheering moment
yes,
right there.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't think obviously it's a product. I think obviously because of the times in which the original trilogy was made,
Right.
but Darth Vader has never seemed more frightening
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
than in that scene. You know, he
Especially
is-
because the rebels were trapped too.
Oh,
so
yeah, there's
it's
nowhere
like
they could
you
go.
could see it on their faces. Like I was like,
You're in a
oh
little,
my god.
You're in a little tiny room,
Yeah, exactly.
which the door's only slightly
Yeah,
open.
half
totally
working.
frightened.
Yeah.
You know, so that scene was fantastic. That scene for me was worth the price of admission.
Yes, and what was great about it too is that it's not to say that it was a surprise. It was kind of a surprise because
It
you
was
thought
like
Vader,
a very nice surprise.
right. We
yeah.
kind of guessed that Vader was going to have some sort of presence on the end, and
Like a
I guess at that
cameo,
moment,
yeah.
I was kind of happy because we kind of talked about it a little bit. We kind of said that Darth Vader had to be involved in that final battle at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like maybe he cuts off Jin and tries to kill him, but they managed to send
or
the plans
he's in
or
a TIE
something.
fighter at least and fight
Right.
that.
But
yeah.
then then when he comes into that scene, it was already a great scene. It was like the whole Battle of Scarif was fantastic. And then they throw on this to add on, and then it just kept going. And what I love too, because like we saw this in like episode 3, right? When Anakin's going on the killing spree. But what we saw was him light up a lightsaber, and then the scene cuts to something else.
Yes.
And that's kind of what, like, in
well,
my
because
mind.
you can't show him killing like a bunch
And
of
I
kids.
understand that.
Yes.
I understand that. But I guess that's what I liked about this scene even better was that when he lights up the lightsaber, they didn't cut to another
Well,
scene
if-
and then cut back,
you
and
know,
he had already chopped through
if
half
George
of them.
Lucas
Right.
was filming this, he would have cut it.
Right.
And you just hear like screaming and probably like that window, like a
Right,
pullback, and you
exactly.
hear like screaming, and then like you'd see the lightsaber going, and then like somehow like it would be thrown through.
Right.
And somebody pick it up and then cut.
And right, exactly. That's my point. That's
Yeah.
why I loved that.
Oh, yeah.
I loved when he lighted up the lightsaber, but then I just loved when he started slashing and they didn't cut to any other
No.
scene. I was like, oh, yes,
The best
yes,
part, the
yes.
best killing that he did was he force choked somebody, but he force choked them to the
He
ceiling.
throws him up.
He throws them up to the ceiling and
Right.
was like going after everybody else, and then he like drops them, and as he falls, he takes his lightsaber and like cuts them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He like just
Yeah.
like dropped him and then cut him, but he didn't even turn around. He's
yeah,
just
that-
like
that
was like the
scene-
greatest thing ever.
It
I was like,
was-
he's
it
like the
was-
greatest thing ever.
It was amazing.
It was great. You know.
And then he went through the door.
Yes.
Like
That was
everybody
great.
like touched it, was like still dying. I was like, it was like a football game where you're like, just pass, keep
Yeah,
passing,
yeah,
just
exactly.
keep passing to the end zone.
Well, and that's why I was surprised that they didn't like throw the data disc earlier.
That's what I thought
Like-
the guy was gonna do instead of like talking through the guy, like, oh,
Yeah.
open the door. I was like, no, just give it to him.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do
And
earlier.
run.
I mean, they finally did, but I thought that was going to happen a little bit sooner.
That's
but
what I thought the scene was going to cut was
Mm.
like you hear Darth Vader, he passes it, and then you just hear screaming as the guy's running down the hallway instead of showing it, which
Yeah.
Right.
which is what they showed was so much better
Mm-hmm.
than anything I would have expected.
Yeah. So let's talk about that ending. Okay? Not
Which
and
ending?
We just talked about the Vader, but let's talk about the preceding battle.
Okay.
The Scarif, the rebels retrieving the data tapes. A very interesting reading on articles like IGN.com where Gareth Edwards, the director, came out and said like initially their very initial drafts, and we talked about this off camera. I wanted to bring it up. Their very initial drafts of Rogue One had the cast surviving, only because they thought they would not get the green light to kill off the entire cast. Does this decision to kill off the entire cast work better for this movie than
Absolutely.
would
I
have
think people would
otherwise?
be. I don't think it would have been
That's,
a.
and maybe it's an obvious answer, but that's why I just want to put it up here.
I don't. I
since,
think if.
'cause
I'm
clearly,
sure some people would probably like it. There's probably
Right.
some people out there that are like, oh, well, nobody survived.
Right.
But I feel like if they had all survived, it wouldn't
have
have
a
been. It
continuity
wouldn't. I
issue.
think
Right.
it would have been a continuity issue,
Right.
but I don't think Star Wars fans would have liked it.
right, and
I
that's
don't think it would get as much praise.
well, and
as
that's
it's
why I
getting
bring
now.
it up because this is one of the few times, or really the only time in any Star Wars film that not a single character on that poster for Rogue One
Yeah.
survives this movie. Not a
Yeah.
single one of them.
Even the robot doesn't.
Even the
survive.
robot, even K2SO.
He's not coming back.
And how, even though you knew everything was getting dire, especially when they started saying, oh, well, we won't be able to get out of here, we're going to get trapped. So you kind of knew it was coming, but how disheartening, I guess, was it for your hopes of any character surviving when K2SO was getting shot up?
Well, he was like,
How
what?
disheartening was that?
He was like
that
the
was.
first or
that was
second to
very
go.
sad.
He was, but it was still sad because he was putting up a fight, and he was one of the most interesting droids we had ever seen.
He was one of the best parts of that entire
He-
movie.
he
My
was.
favorite part was like, it's high. It's gonna be. It's really high.
It's really
That was,
high.
like, my
The probability
favorite
of us dying is high. It's very
High.
high. So, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. I think it was one of those times where killing off all the characters makes sense,
It was necessary.
and
I don't-
it was necessary.
Yeah, I don't think if
Yeah.
if they didn't kill off all the characters, or at least a majority of them, like I would have, like even if like say Jin survived, but everybody else died to
Right.
get her to get to that, because
Right.
that's what I mean. In the end, it kind of did, like, for Cassian.
Well,
Because, no,
he
you
died
think
too.
he died.
Oh,
no,
well,
no,
right,
but I'm
yeah.
saying,
Which
like,
I kind of had a feeling that he was still alive.
Yeah, like because it could have
at
been
that
like
point.
I could have seen it where she uploads it,
Right.
kills what's his face, Krennic, and then jumped on a TIE fighter and got out of there before, like at the very last second, and I'd be
Right.
like, all right, okay.
Right.
But I actually don't think if they had all survived, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. I feel like this
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been kind of a cop out, like
Yeah.
kind of like, but I don't understand why they didn't think that. And maybe it was like in the middle of the writing process was before Force Awakens, because it's like Force Awakens killed Han Solo.
Yeah, but
And-
there's
that's
a big
ballsy
difference
because I mean it might
Well,
be a
that only
difference
happened because
between
Harrison
Harrison
Ford
Ford
wanted
wanted
him
it
dead.
to,
Yeah.
but that's still ballsy in a way of like you're killing one of the most beloved things anyway.
And I do agree, but also though there is still a difference though between killing.
There is
like
against
because
Han Solo
it's like
too,
it's like
very brand
they,
new
It's like they
characters.
killed off Obi-Wan in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Sorry if you've never seen A New Hope, but yeah, they kill off Obi-Wan in A New Hope, and like.
Or
Kinda
did he
hoping if you're watching the
disappear?
Rogue
Yeah,
One,
I know.
There was no
I know.
body.
you've seen-
There was no body. That's right. He disappeared. But to kill off your whole cast when you're using I mean, all these Star Wars films are kind of platforms for merchandise as well.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're creating merchandise for characters like Jin or Krennic, like you're gonna
You want
kill
the
them
5
off.
different types of
like-
figurines that they wear.
Right,
So,
and then you're
yeah.
going to kill them off. So, but to that point, though, I mean, according to Gareth Edwards, they did reach the point where they were just like, it just didn't make sense that the characters survived,
Well-
and they went to Kathleen Kennedy and
Yeah.
Lucasfilm and said, "Can we do this? Because
It makes
it's not
sense.
going to work and it doesn't make sense." And Kathleen Kennedy agreed, and Lucasfilm agreed, and at no point did they force them to change it.
Yeah.
So, and I only
And
bring
that's
that
what
up.
I think the reshoots were.
And I think so too.
Yeah.
And I bring this up too because I think everything Disney has done with Star Wars so far has been just amazing. They've nailed it so
Yeah.
far. I mean, yeah, okay, you can nitpick this, nitpick that, whatever. Okay, that was going to happen no matter what. But so far, they seem to understand what the fans want out of these Star Wars films, and they're giving it to us. And that's what gives me hope for this series more than like any other blockbuster franchise right now.
Yeah.
This is why I'm excited for a new Star Wars every year now. So I've gotten 2 examples
They're
that
two and-
they are
they're
for
2
real.
and 2 right now.
Yeah, they're 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah.
They're 2 for 2 on Star Wars, and that gives me hope and confidence that as we enter more uncharted territory with Episode 8, because now we're getting even farther away from. I mean, yes, we have we still have some of the old characters, but they're going to start moving even farther away from what's been established in the original Star Wars trilogy.
new characters,
and as we
yeah.
enter all this uncharted territory, it's going to be very exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited
Yeah.
for Episode 8 now. I'm excited for Episode 9 because I am now thoroughly convinced that Disney knows what they're doing. And even though I'm kind of disappointed that J.J. Abrams isn't coming back to direct Episode 8, for example, I have enough confidence now, after seeing Disney go 2 for 2
They're
on
hiring
Star
the right
Wars.
people.
And believe me, Rogue One is a risk, or was a risk,
Oh, yeah,
This
it
was
was a
a
big
risk
one.
of a movie.
Yeah.
And yet they nailed it. So if they can do that, I have extreme confidence in Episode 8. I have confidence in Episode 9 in the Han Solo film.
Right.
I'm excited
Now,
for the
was
future
it-
of Star Wars.
was it-
Gareth Edwards did a fantastic job
Oh,
at
yeah.
making this a war film. And yes, all the Star Wars films have had elements of war in them, but this has been the only true war-based Star Wars film where the Force is in there, but
Not really.
but minimal.
They're talking
Minimal.
about it.
Right, exactly.
I mean-
and they use it. Well, it's talked about as like
in
we would
faith.
talk about religion. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's-
it's faith.
well, it is their
It's
faith,
not the
yeah,
magic.
their
It's
religion.
faith, and that's the side of Star Wars we've never seen.
Type
Yeah.
of religion it is in general.
What did you guys think of the CGI bringing back characters to life, aka Peter Cushing and young Leia Organa? I mean, I know there's mixed views of it
Yeah,
out
I know
there,
there's
so
some
that's
people
why
that-
I wanted to bring this up.
There's some people that did not like it.
Did
at
it
all.
work for you guys?
You know what?
Yes.
Okay, we got a yes. Costa?
While I believe Leia came out looking better than Tarkin.
I'm opposite.
Really?
But-
I think she looked worse than him.
My whole
Interesting.
thing is, for what it is, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
You know, at
Yeah.
first, like I said, I'm talking about initial. The second I saw CGI Tarkin on the screen, I kind of cringed a little bit,
Right.
just because it was obvious, you know,
Right.
and you know, it looked like kind of something out of like a video game cutscene,
Right. A little
a
bit.
little bit,
Yeah.
you know, but.
Especially because they had him.
understand it.
I think one of the weird things is too because he was stationary in almost every scene. I don't think he moved around that much.
Not a whole lot,
And that
you
kind
know.
of adds to the weirdness to
Right.
it because you expect
Right.
human actors to walk
and
around
especially
as
when
they
you
talk.
when you have him standing right next to Krennic.
Right.
you know,
yeah.
He's very tall.
Yeah.
If you notice, like
Yeah,
he's
he was
like,
taller than I
and
thought
I
he
was like,
was,
maybe
too.
that's how it
But,
is.
but when you
Yeah.
have
he wasn't
but
real
when you
life.
have a CGI character standing right next to especially when it's supposed to be a human character, a CGI human character standing next to a real human character,
Yeah,
then
it's
it's a
noticeable.
little more jarring. But again, like it by no means makes the movie less.
And I agree. I think it's one of those when I go to rewatch the film, I'll probably be even more okay with it the second time through because I
already seen it.
because we weren't really expecting it. There were some rumors, and we've probably even talked about some things about maybe Tarkin has to be in there somehow.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Tarkin played more than just appeared in 2 scenes
It
type
wasn't a
role.
cameo.
It was a feature role.
Or
honestly.
somebody in the background
Yeah.
walking.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
I mean,
it was
in
a feature
he was
role.
in it way more than Vader was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and honestly, like I thought going into it, if Tarkin made an appearance, I thought it would have been one of those things where it's like maybe he has his back to the camera.
Right.
They just have like a body double or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or a hologram.
Or
Yeah.
hologram.
Right, yeah.
And you really don't see his face, but you hear maybe they use old recorded dialogue or
Right.
something from the original trilogy. Like it wouldn't have been anything like this.
right.
But again, it wasn't. It was by no means perfect.
Right.
But for what it was, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and I agree. And like I said, I had that kind of IGN described it best in their review as the uncanny valley effect, where something you can tell is wrong, but it looks right, but you can tell something's off about
I think
it.
usually
Yeah.
the only
I
thing,
think
like
that's-
with video games and stuff like that, the most that you can tell is usually the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes are always the ones that either they float
Yeah.
or they're not proportioned right. They're a little bit too big, and I think his was like maybe a little bit too big. Same with like Princess Leia too. But I was okay with him, and why I think Peter Cushing's character was better was I think because he was kind of in the shadows sometimes of like on the ship and stuff.
Fair
So
enough,
you know,
yeah.
it was
Guess
a
it's
little
true.
bit hidden. I could see like differences. Like I knew he was CGI.
Right, of
But
course.
it didn't, like, for some people, like, people were, they said they were taken out of the movie, but I was like, compared to what we had, like, Tron, remember? Because
Right.
I don't know, were
Yeah,
you with us when we saw
yes.
Tron? This is so
The young
much
Jeff
better than
Bridges.
what Tron was. And I know, and I think I read somewhere, they had an actor there, and I don't know if he had, like, the dots on his face or whatever, so they're getting there, they're doing the compute,
Right, well, that's what
with
they
the
did.
video
it was,
game stuff,
It
yeah.
was British actor Guy Henry filled the physical role of
Yeah.
Peter Cushing, and he even had to
because
say
he was
it and the
moving,
lines.
and I said it was good because with the actors, you know, he was there, like
Right.
somebody was there,
Yeah.
doing the lines and everything, and it might not be completely 100%. Oh my gosh,
Right.
Peter Cushing came back from the dead,
Right.
But I thought it was good. I think the Princess Leia one was little for me because she was full on like they did like a medium shot of her face, and you could tell it was completely like plasticky. and like her dialogue
But then
did
again,
not match with her lips.
Really?
To like, it didn't like you saw her move, but it didn't go. So
I
that
didn't-
one
I
I
didn't
think
I'd,
catch
I'd have to watch that again.
it just didn't come together. But it
Gotcha.
is a quick shot that I don't think. But I was like, oh god, that is. I don't know if somebody's there or not.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and for me, I was kind of
But I
thrown
didn't
off.
care. It
I
was
was kind
so
of thrown
good.
off too by how abruptly the movie ended. It just kind of like, I mean, again, I
Well,
understand
because,
it because
because you go to the next
it's
movie.
leading
Yeah.
right into like literally the minutes before
Yeah.
episode 4. So I
Yeah.
get it. I
Yeah.
get it. But even still, as a moviegoer, I was still kind of just like, oh, okay,
Oh,
it's over.
I thought I was fine with that. I was just like,
Okay.
yeah, you got to end it.
Fair enough. Okay.
And I think it was perfect that I didn't think they were going to end it on her.
right.
Like,
Neither did
and
I.
I mean, I figured like when it was like handed off to
Mm.
somebody, I was like, well, she's got to hand it to Leia, or it's going to have to somehow
Right.
get to her. I didn't realize like she was literally on the ship,
Well-
like ready to go.
and we had hypothesized, Costa and I, a while back that maybe they even had somebody playing a young Leia because if you know the Star Wars history, she was on the ship that Vader attacks at the beginning of Episode 4.
Yeah.
And it adds, and again, another IGN article that explained how this movie set up Episode 4. It adds even more credence to the fact that Darth Vader immediately dismisses Leia's claim that she was not on a diplomatic mission
Oh,
for
yeah, he knew
Alderaan.
right
He
away.
knew right away, and that's why.
He knew she
And
was
this movie
lying.
sets up perfectly that he
Yeah.
knows why.
Yeah.
That he's not an idiot.
he saw the
You know,
planes,
like-
he saw it take off.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So and so we kind of theorized that there had to be at least a cameo by Leia somehow,
Yeah.
or at least we thought there
Or
might
that
be.
ship. I mean,
we
they
weren't
could've just showed it
expecting
with that ship
We
going
weren't
on.
really expecting what we got.
Well, it explains why. Because I had figured that if they had cast someone to play Leia, that it would have been like news. Like someone would have gotten a hold of that information, would have leaked it out there, and like, oh, so and so just been cast to play Princess Leia in Rogue One. But there wasn't any hint of that, and I guess it ends up being because. I don't know, it's because it was a whole CGI thing, or maybe,
Like a body double.
but but then again, it may have just been one of those things where, they ended up casting somebody that really not a known
Right, it was
actress.
just-
I
was
think
a
it would have
body
just.
double.
I think
Body
it would have
double.
been a little.
It was
bit
a body
like,
double
yeah.
with motion capture face.
But they did
Yeah.
a good job. It was a nice little surprise at the end of the movie, and
Yeah, I mean, I was
it all
surprised.
worked out really well.
And one more thing too, I just want to mention before we start wrapping up. I loved what some of the things they did in the Scarif battle. For example, smashing the one cruiser
Oh, with the
into that
hammerhead
Star
thing.
Destroyer
Yes.
to then crash into another
The
Star
Star
Destroyer to then crash into the shield gate. That's fantastic. We've never seen stuff
That
like
guy's
that
like,
before.
I have an idea.
Yeah, exactly. And then how I thought this was an underrated thing that maybe a lot of people didn't catch. I loved that the Rebel Alliance was just about to hit hyperspace.
And then Darth Vader?
Darth Vader's Star Destroyer comes out and smashes some of those ships that were
Yeah.
going into hyperspace. I was like, whoa, we've never seen that before. Like, normally hyperspace, once
It was like,
they're
surprise,
gone, they're
bitch.
done.
Like,
Yeah,
it was just
exactly.
like,
It was just came out
boom.
of nowhere. And that set up perfectly Darth Vader's like last minute slaughter. Like
yeah.
all that right there. Because you were already, it's like, oh yay, the Alliance won. And then, whoa.
Well, like, but I liked like what we were talking about with Tarkin.
Yeah.
When it like happened,
Mm-hmm.
like he didn't seem all that phased. I feel like he was glad, like not that
Oh, yeah.
that the plans got stolen, but that he got to get rid of
The Krennic.
Krennic.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's like, oh gosh, yes, I can
Absolutely.
get this asshole out of like
And
my
that-
way.
and
Like
that-
he had no problem
Yeah.
with blowing it up, and then he's like, oh, the ship's got the thing. He's like, we'll have
Yeah,
Vader
he had the
take care of
Flemish
it.
justification,
Like,
but
he was
it-
like calm and cool, like
Yeah.
whatever.
And that adds to Tarkin's character of just being a remorseless, like soulless person. That he just is so into the Empire, and that adds more credence as to why. And we've talked about this before. Why does Vader like take orders from Tarkin, or why does he respect Tarkin? Scenes like that are why.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to do that.
He doesn't
That's
flinch.
why. Exactly.
And he like takes stuff from
It just
him.
makes
It's like,
Tarkin.
No, you're,
it makes
like,
Tarkin
yeah.
an even better character than he already was.
Yeah.
He just makes him more badass and more evil than he already was.
Well, I mean, he calls.
And how
he
amazing is
like,
that?
That scene, like what they were talking about, with like when he like appears.
Yeah.
And he basically calls Krennic out on his shit because
Right.
he's basically been fucking up, and
Right.
he's in charge of this huge project that he keeps on boasting about. But he's like, yeah, but this happened.
Right.
I don't give a shit about like this working.
And then he
you
said,
have all these little things happening,
Right.
and you're not like batting an eye about it, and this is a problem.
And then he took over the weapon
And he's
to
like,
claim
"I'm
as
gonna
his.
take this
yeah.
over."
So which again sets up episode 4. That's why he's the main one in charge of the
It's
weapon
like,
after
you're wearing
that.
all white, I'm
So-
wearing gray. I don't need a cape.
Yeah.
Another thing to mention, really cool thing that we got to see in the movie was Vader's castle.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Monolith.
Oh yeah, I did almost forget to mention that. Yes, Vader's castle was
that
cool.
was really neat. You know,
And according to everything that we've heard, it was on Mustafar,
Yep.
and it makes sense,
which was cool.
because I was doing a little bit of reading research on it, and I think they referred to his castle like the Dark Monolith, and
Right.
it makes sense why at the end of the day it would be on Mustafar, because Palpatine wanted control over Vader. Like, he wanted to make sure Vader would do his every last bit, and what better way than to sort of, I guess, at least keep him emotionally in check, I guess, than to have him live on the planet where sort of his life all went to shit.
Right. Yeah.
Or you could say where Darth Vader was born and Anakin
Darth Vader was
Skywalker
born,
died.
right.
Yeah.
But it's,
And where Anakin died and Darth
keeps,
Vader
it
was
keeps,
born.
right. It's a reminder, like, this is where Anakin lost his humanity.
Right.
This is like, a reminder to him, like, you're not, this person that is meant to do good.
Right.
You're meant to do my bidding, be on the dark side.
Well, I had
you
read
know.
where he wanted to be there. It wasn't we probably different
Everything-
sources. There's
the-
always,
If you look at it, though, it all comes back, to read a little bit more. Again, this is all something that's really not related to the film, but Palpatine ultimately always wanted to have control over
Oh, and he did.
Vader,
Right. Yeah.
and he did. Really, obviously, up until the very, very end.
Yeah.
But he always wanted control over Vader, and it meant always playing mind games with,
Yeah.
with
Oh, of
Vader,
course.
and playing with
Absolutely.
his emotions or lack thereof.
Right.
And so the
Well, and
location makes
that
sense.
goes all the way back to Revenge of the Sith, where
right.
at the very end he does that one last little manipulation on Anakin when Vader wakes up, and he immediately says, "Where's Padme? Is she okay? Is she all right?" And Palpatine, he has no idea, but he says, "It seems in your anger you killed her." And that was that one last little
Right,
manipulation
which
to
isn't
just
true.
seal him total. It
Well,
wasn't true at the time.
he told her.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't true at the time
well,
because-
he didn't kill her. She had just died
Right,
during
right,
job.
so it
But
wasn't
he
necessarily
thinks
true.
In this part of what I had read up on was that I had heard that he wanted to be there because that's where Anakin Skywalker died, where Darth Vader was born out of that, and also because in his mind right now, and also I don't know where it is because I forget what parts are canon still and stuff, because I know parts of the castle thing are part of some of the comics. That he thinks Padme died there, so he wants to be there because that's where he thinks he killed his wife there. And I also read somewhere that I don't know if it's canon, but like he doesn't find out until who's the guy, the bounty hunter guy,
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett is the one that supposedly tells him that that his wife survived to give birth. And
How would Boba
Yeah,
Fett
how would
know?
Boba Fett know this?
was a child.
No,
And Vader shouldn't have
Boba
known.
Fett tells him, like, I forget like what incident it was, but says like he doesn't know, like and gives him information about like Luke Skywalker, gives Luke Skywalker's name to him with whatever incident, I can't remember what it is that he gave information of, like who's like with it, but when he gives him the name Luke Skywalker, because Boba Fett doesn't know it's Anakin Skywalker, that is when he finds out that she had survived and was able to give birth, and that he wasn't the one that killed her.
But he shouldn't have known that though, because he shouldn't have known that he had kids. He only knew that he didn't know that until Episode 5, because then that's when Palpatine says, this is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker.
I forget where, but I mean, this is something that was written in comic books, so it could be afterwards. This was like just what I had seen that
Yeah.
it was, and it wasn't like It was information, I think, with him going out searching for like Han Solo or whoever, or like the rebels or whoever like blew up the base. I think it was whoever blew up the base. He wanted to find out who was the one that did
I guess
he gave the name or whatever, and that's when he found out that at least the Emperor lied to him.
Well, again,
But that's all like
I don't
weird,
know.
like comic book
I-
stuff. That's
yeah.
probably not based on it. But
Yeah.
it was interesting to read of like how he
See,
found
this is
out.
why my thing is to just always follow these movies because they're
like
the
the
main
whatever the
canon.
TV
They're what
show is,
started.
yeah.
And yeah, I know there's some like the TV show, but for the most part, the movies are where it started, and
Yeah.
that's why I just follow the movies. So
Well, that was like
But-
that was the only thing with the castle was looking into it. It said like that existed, and it looked like they took it from.
and yeah, well, yeah,
inspiration.
because
Yeah.
the castle goes back. I mean, they had designs for a Vader-like castle all the way back when they filmed Empire.
Yeah, and they never used.
And they never used it, so they've kind of been flirting with this for years. So,
Yeah. Oh, but
we finally got
I
to see
liked it, and I
it was,
liked that
and
it was
well
on
placed.
the planet because we were talking about like they never
Yeah.
named it out of all of them.
Right.
But I was like, I think it's the planet
Yeah.
from the end. I was
Yeah.
like, it makes sense, kind of. I mean,
oh,
it's
no, it
got to be
does.
hot.
Absolutely, and it would make sense why they didn't give it a title. It gives it like that little air of mystery to it, you
It
know.
is, though.
like,
I feel like it's kind of a stupid place to go because you were a burnt victim.
yeah, it's true.
That
It-
has to be in that tube of water. So what if happens if that tube bursts or something goes wrong?
You're right.
It's
exactly.
gonna suck.
Final thoughts on Rogue One? Anything you guys just want to mention real
Just-
quick before we
just-
wrap up?
Nope, just a great movie. Go see it.
Okay,
Yep.
Amber. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
great.
It's like I said. I think it's one of the best prequels out there. So please go see it. It is very enjoyable, and it
was worth it.
It was
The whole year.
It was worth the year-long wait. It was worth the year-long wait.
Looking forward to the next.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to the next Star Wars story. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Episode 8.
Again,
but
now,
I'm looking forward now to the Han
now
Solo
every year
story.
Star Wars is the big movie I'm looking forward to every year now. So thank you guys for joining. This was a lot of fun. We got to geek out and review Rogue One, so that was cool. I hope everybody out there who has seen it, I hope you have enjoyed Rogue One, and if you're planning to see it, I hope you have fun. It's a great movie, so we hope you enjoy yourselves. If you would like to get in on this conversation, continue this conversation, you may do so in the comments below the video. You can also find us on social media. On Twitter, it is Movie.Cast spelled out, and on Facebook, it's Movie.Cast. You can find us there. Send us a message, a tweet, let us know what you thought of the film, and go out and enjoy. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you next time. See you in the Funny Papers.